How we doing, everybody? Now, if you follow the world of mixed martial arts, which you probably do, you might have seen the news. What am I talking about? Bisping, what are you talking about? I'm talking about Nick Diaz. Nick Diaz is probably going to fight before the end of the year. Well, according to his coach, Cesar Gracie, his longtime jiu-jitsu coach, long time in his corner, one of his team, of course, he's his cornerman and jiu-jitsu coach. Cesar Gracie says, look for Nick Diaz to fight before the end of the year. And count me in as very, very excited. Always been a big fan of Nick Diaz. Love everything he brings to the table. Love his attitude. Love his fighting spirit. Love his skills, his boxing, his jiu-jitsu. And he's just a real fighter. You know, as the sport has got big, it's amazing to see the growth, the explosion of mixed martial arts, particularly the UFC. And we got amazing athletes. We got incredible martial artists. But the true, real fighters, you know, I'm not saying they're a dying breed, but there's just not as many around these days. Nick Diaz falls into that category, as does his brother, Nate Diaz. Now, we all know Nate Diaz is on the last fight of his contract. I think the fight that's going to get made is Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz 3. That fight needs to happen. Everyone earns a lot of money from it. And there's a reason why the one, you know, Nate Diaz and Dustin Poirier never materialized. It's because the money fight with Conor McGregor is just too big an opportunity for everybody involved. So that, in my opinion, is going to happen towards the end of the year. The Nick Diaz return, hopefully a triumphant return for him, will also happen towards the end of the year. And I'm telling it right now, on the same card. Who wouldn't want to see that? Nick and Nate on the same card. Nate versus Conor McGregor 3. Then Diaz can go off, box Jake Paul, do whatever he wants, go in the WWE, sit there and smoke weed for the rest of his life. I don't care. But I would like to see that third one. Nick Diaz wants to come back. You know why? Because as I said, the man is a real fighter. When he showed up last year and he fought Robbie Lawler, his first fight back in 6 years, while they got a bonus for that fight because Nick Diaz, you know, the man's got a heart, so has Robbie Lawler. They basically just traded shots in the pocket. And in the third round, Diaz said, you know what, I'm done. He was on the floor. He said, nah, that's it. I'm done. Referee called off the fight. And I said at the time, I did a video on it. That took a lot of honesty. That took a lot of realization, a lot of wherewithal for Nick Diaz to say, do you know what? I'm done today. I'm not going to win this fight. And there was a difference between being a coward and throwing in the towel and quitting as there is to saying, you know what? I'm just not going to win. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I'm done. I didn't prepare properly for the fight. Because in that fight, and I'm not taking away from Robbie Lawler's amazing victory, in that fight, remember it was meant to be 170. Then they switched it to 185. Diaz looked a little soft around the midsection. He even said in the post-fight interview with Joe Rogan, yeah, I kind of had that coming. Well, when somebody says I kind of had that coming, that would allude to I never prepared properly for the fight. And it's a cliche, but if you fail to prepare, then you are preparing to fail. Yes, I went there. I said that. I apologize. I won't say it again. Anyway, conceive, believe, achieve. Real quick, I want to tell you about IP Vanish. IP Vanish will protect you when you are online. You know the deal by now. There's all kinds of nastiness on the internet. You're going to get hacked. They're going to steal money. They're going to log into your bank records, all kinds of things. Plus, if you're traveling the world, you might go to certain areas and certain websites are restricted. With IP Vanish, you have full unrestricted access to everything on the internet. But as I say, more importantly, you're not going to get hacked. People aren't going to log into your financial information. They're not going to hack into your social media, change your passwords and your accounts, try and bribe you for money and all that type of stuff. So go to ipvanish.com/Bisping or click that link in the episode description down below. Anyway, so yeah, here's the thing. He's coming back. He wants to fight. I say put him on the same card together. For the fans, that would be incredible. For Nick Diaz, it'll also be a great support network. Going through a fight camp with a training partner and you're fighting on the same night is amazing. I can only imagine what it's like to go through a training camp with your brother who's also fighting on the same night. Against Conor McGregor, that would be the main event. Nick Diaz versus a possible opponent in the co-main event. Come on, that would be incredible. Or maybe mid-card, you know, maybe stick another high-profile fight in the co-main. Who knows? So anyway, he's coming back. Nick Diaz, prior to that Robbie Lawler fight, hadn't fought in 6 years. You know, he had that nonsense marijuana suspension. I think it was 4 years. He took some time away. Looked like he was never going to fight. Came back, didn't do himself justice. So now he wants to come back. And I guarantee this. The reason Cesar Gracie is saying that is because he's teasing the world. But also he knows his pupil, his fighter, his student, his protege does not want to go out like that. Nobody wants to go out like that. If you go out and you lose and you gave it your best shot, okay, all good. But he said, I kind of had that coming. That's because he knows that wasn't the best version of himself. And that is not what Nick Diaz, in my humble opinion, wants to be the lasting memory of his career. And it is quite the career that he had. I'm looking at his record here. Now, granted, there is a lot of losses on it recently, but when you look at the competition that he's fought, he has been in there with the absolute best. His record is 26-10. Last out against Robbie Lawler. Before that, a no contest against Anderson Silva because Anderson tested positive for steroids. Prior to that, George St. Pierre, Carlos Condit, BJ Penn, Paul Daly, Cyborg Santos, KJ News. The list goes on. The man has been around for a very, very long time. So who's he going to fight? Well, he's not going to fight a guy that's at the top of the food chain, although I'm going to suggest somebody that's right near the top of the food chain. What Nick Diaz needs is another veteran, another guy that's been around for a long time, another guy that's got miles on the clock, okay? Now, Donald Cerrone, he's fighting lightweight against Joe Lozon at UFC 274, the next pay-per-view. That would be a good opponent. We know Donald likes to fight at 170. He's also, with respect, got to be coming towards the end of his career. A lot of wear and tear on the body. These two guys have been around the fight game forever. Donald Cerrone versus Nick Diaz. I would like to see that matchup. I don't want to see him in there with a Vicente Luque or someone like that. You know, any of those killers at 170 right now. He's just not there. But he's still got it. He's still a fighter. He's still got the mindset. He's still willing to put the work in. He's still got the skills, you know, but throwing him to the dogs like that isn't what I would recommend. But here's one that you might think is crazy, but I would like to see it. And you put this on a pay-per-view, it's going to sell like a motherfucker. Nick Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal. There it is. The BMF belt on the line once again. Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz in the main event. And then you have Jorge Gamebred Masvidal versus Nick Diaz. There's a massive storyline there. Listen, Masvidal, you know, he fought for the belt on 2 occasions. He's lost his last 3 in a row, sadly. He had a great 2019. He struggled a little bit recently, but it's okay. He's been fighting the top of the food chain guys, right? Nick Diaz, you got to think, number 1, fan-friendly matchup. Number 2, there's a storyline there. Masvidal beat his younger brother in Nate Diaz, you know. Masvidal probably thinks, hold on, I can take out the older brother. That would be a legendary thing to have on your record. And also, getting back to winning ways. And for Nick Diaz, you know there's not a single man on this earth that he's scared of.
Don't be scared, homie.
You know, he's not going to be intimidated. You know, he's going to say, yeah, sure, 100%. Give me Jorge Masvidal. So Donald Cerrone, that would be good. But I'm leaning towards, I'm talking myself into it. Nick Diaz versus Jorge Gamebred Masvidal. Very winnable fight for both men, right? Tons of storyline with the younger brother, with the Nate Diaz fight. Nick Diaz wants to get a win over a credible opponent because he's not a pussy. He doesn't want easy fights. And Jorge Masvidal needs to get back in the win column. This ticks every single box under the sun. So, there it is. There is my prediction. I truly believe that that will happen later this year. I don't know if it'll be Masvidal, but it'll be on the same card as Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz.
I predict these things.
Anyway, there it is. Saw that today. Got a little excited. Hope you're all well. You know the deal. Subscribe. Ring the bell. Thank you all very much for supporting the channel. See you later.